Very true. Wow. And something else I wanted to ask you about. I know that tour, you won't be coming to Nashville, but you will be coming to Nashville in August.
Oh, yeah.
But for the Sammy Hagar Best of Both Worlds tour at the Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
What are some emotions going into that position?
Well, that's crazy. I mean, the first time that Sammy called me with this idea, first of all, have you ever met Sammy Hagar before?
No,
when he calls you on the phone, you hold the phone about 8 inches away because it's loud, and he's very enthusiastic. He never calls unless he's extremely enthusiastic about the subject he's about to lay on you. So it was a call where I listened for a very long time. So I had a lot of time to reflect while he was laying the whole thing out. But I knew I was going to say yes because he has a fantastic career in the history of the records that he put out. This is fantastic for him, to celebrate with him. And somehow I'm in there. I'm in there with Chickenfoot, so I'm part of that legacy, which is really it's just fantastic to be able to be a part of that and to have the chance to play this music for the fans. The scary part, of course, was the Van Halen part. Because I explained to him, I said, from playing with me, Sam, that I've tried my best to avoid playing like Eddie forever. I'm a big fan, and I've never learned the songs on purpose so that I wouldn't steal anything, And I said, but now I have to listen to it. This is going to be torture, because the sound in my head is like when I was playing with Deep Purple, all I heard was Ritchie Blackmore's parts in one ear, and the other ear was me, and it didn't sound like Ritchie, and it's a bit of a torture if you're a big fan. If I didn't know Eddie Van Halen music, it'd be a lot easier in that sense, because I wouldn't be trying to live up to that, But I really want to do it right. So once I get off the ship, that's going to be part of my practice day, is chip away at all those little things that Eddie used to do that don't come naturally to me, but I've got to make them natural,
Well, also, you put a part of yourself in those solos, which is so great. Because when I saw the performance on Howard Stern, I loved it. I said, this is perfect, because he's paying tribute to Eddie, but it's still Joe Satriani, which I love.
Were you lucky enough to see Eddie play with Van Halen?
I did twice. Yeah. The problem is that the seats were awful both times. I saw Sammy Hagar because I'll say it, I'm a completely Van Hagar guy. But, so, outside of that, I'm not the only one either, by the way. There's a lot of them. But I saw it, and we were on the floor, and I was very small at that age. So I couldn't see over people. I was like, that was like 04, I think, 04. And then when Dave Lee Roth happened, you waited at FYE when they actually sold tickets at 10 o'clock, and you couldn't do it online, and we got nosebleeds. So it was like just seeing a bunch of ants and horrible, just bouncing off the ceiling. So, that was the unfortunate reality. So no, I never really got a great experience seeing it. Okay. Live Without a Net was probably the best, and that was on VHS.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's what you're getting with that. So, yeah, but we're excited about it. Is there any particular favorite Eddie Van Halen solo that you have?
Well, the biggest favorite part you just mentioned, which was Live Without a Net '86, the sound that Eddie had and the way that he played with the sound. To me, once I started to take this deep dive into the technicalities of trying to do these songs, and then talking it over with Sam and what his favorite Eddie sound was, we focused on that, actually, because it was that transition where he was still kind of playing the old rig, the Roth era rig, but he was leaning towards what was going to become the Hagar era rig, And for those people who are more technically or interested, it's the transition from Marshall amps to Soldano to PV, and then ultimately to the 5153s. Right. Remarkably different tools for a guitar player to plug into. Right. Some songs don't work with the other, and so I've been working with this amp company, Third Power, out of Nashville, to make the ultimate Van Halen amp from that era, from '86. That's what we focused on, because you'll be able to do both of those eras of Van Halen, I think, with that setup. So that's been the important thing for me, is just getting that started, the sound part.
And that will go on the road with you?
Yes, yeah.
And that'll be two-powered, ideally, right?
I'm not really sure how I'm going to work this out. The Dragon amp made by Third Power you could get two cabinets and turn it up really loud and it would sound great. What Eddie was doing with those things, he'd plug into a Marshall, it would go into some power source like a Palmer speaker emulator. Then it would go into stereo power amps, and there'd be eventides and delays and SDE 3000s and things like that. And so it was, I mean, have you seen that there's a great picture of backstage, side stage of Eddie's rig from that tour, and it's just insane. It's, now you can just get a little modeler about this.
The footprints are so tiny.
Yeah,
though.
it's so tiny, but it was very impressive. It kind of looked like ENIAC computer from 1940. And so I'm not going to try to emulate that. I want to keep it simple. But there's something about the power and the what would you call it? The transient response of having all that wattage behind you. You don't necessarily have to turn it up that loud,
right.
but the speed of the tone is really important. And I'm just, fingers crossed that once I start playing, Ain't Talking About Love, and I feel that that'll be like, okay, I'm here. I'm in the zone.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
This is going to be exciting. I'll 100% be the Bridgestone show.
Yeah.
Won't miss it.
Great.